Senator for Oklahoma.
Mr. President, first of all, I ask unanimous consent to vitiate the yeas and nays on the substitute amendment.
Is there objection? Without objection.
And Mr. President, let me ask unanimous consent that I and Senator Jack Reed be given such time as we shall consume prior to the vote that's taking place.
Without objection.
In just a few minutes, the Senate will vote on final passage of the National Defense Reauthorization Act, fiscal year 2020. And throughout the last week and a half, we've debated the legislation here on the Senate floor in a fair process. I want to thank my colleagues who have supported this bill and helped it make, a better bill through the amendment process. And while I would have liked to have had more open amendments, and Senator Reed and I both have wanted to have more amendments on the floor, we knew that there was a problem and that we could not do that. So we are pleased that we'll at least be able to clear the 93 amendments that we added on yesterday as part of the bipartisan substitute amendment in the manager's package. Now, these include the Annual Intelligence Authorization Act, the Maritime Administration Authorization Act, and the Fentanyl Sanctions Act. Ultimately, the job of the NDAA is to make tough choices about where we want to invest our resources. We put our resources where it matters, taking care of our people, implementing the National Defense Strategy, and applying the recommendations from the NDS Strategy Commission report. This is something we used as a blueprint, and it's been very successful taking us through this process. And everyone agrees there are things that are going to happen in rebuilding our military, and that's why we have a top line of $750 billion. Without that, we can't achieve our goals, and we all know that are necessary. And they also must happen as soon as possible. We can't delay on this bill. We've still got more work to be done with the NDAA. We have to conference with the House, and the conference committees sometimes take a little bit of time. We know that that's going to be done, but we also know that we want to get this thing done by our deadline, which would be October 1st. In the month of July, we've got to do a lot of other things. We have to do the annual funding. We have to do the budget deal. So these are some of our most important responsibilities. We've got to get them done, and here's why. Things are happening right now. 2 days ago, Master Sergeant Michael Riley of Heilbronn, Germany, and Sergeant James Johnson of Trumansburg, New York, lost their lives in Afghanistan while engaged in combat operations. It was a tragic thing. The service and sacrifice is a reminder of why this bill is so important. We've got to make sure our troops have the very best of everything, and we're in the process of getting there with this bill. So our prayers are with Master Sergeant Riley and the Sergeant Johnson's families and loved ones. We will never forget their service and their sacrifice that they made, reminding us that freedom is not free. There's no doubt in my mind that NDAA bills we're about to pass will give our troops what they need, make American families safer, and enable us to stand up for democratic values around the world. And let me single out and thank publicly the next speaker, the ranking member, Senator Reed, for being a great partner in this thing. I mean, we stayed together on this. We had areas where we disagreed, but we got around those. We got things done, and in the end result is a very good one. I know that Senator Reed is going to want to recognize, as I do, the significance of the staff that we worked with and why that's is so important. And of course, we want to make sure that people know. Senator Reed and I get a lot of credit for doing a lot of stuff that other people do. Isn't that right, Senator Reed? And I know that we really appreciate these people. Let me just list some of them. First of all, John Bonzo and Liz King from my staff and from Senator Reed's staff. They're the ones who really got involved in this thing. And we feel, without them, it would have been almost impossible. Along with other people, we had John Wasson, Tom Goffis, Stephanie Barnett, Zem Salmon, Greg Lilly, Marta Hernandez, Jenny Wright, Adam Barker, Augusta Benz-Berkey, Al Edwards, Jackie Kerber, Sean O'Keefe, Tony Pancook, Brad Patu, Jason Potter, J.R. Reardon, Katie Sutton, Eric Traeger, Dustin Walker, Otis Winker, Jim Woolrun, Katie Magnus, Arthur Tellis, Leah Brewer, Debbie Shirello, Gary Howard, Tyler Wilkinson, John Bryant, Mary Jane Geller, Baylor Ikander, and Carrie McCawkey, and Jacqueline Mudaset, and Soli Sykes. And I've got a few more, so just relax for a minute. We had, and this is, well, it also, I think the others are actually from the minority side, which I'm sure that Senator Reid is going to be responding to them and talking about them. So from my personal staff, Luke Holland, Andrew Forbes, Lacey Burke, Don Archer, Kyle Stewart, and Brian Bodie. And lastly, from the staff, the floor staff, and that's Laura Dove, Robert Duncan, Chris Tuck, Tom Hannigan, Catherine Kilroy, Brian Canfield, Abigail Baker, and Megan Mercer. So all these people worked hard. They are all a part of this team, and it certainly goes far beyond just Senator Reid and myself. And with that, I will yield the floor for Senator Reid.